Welcome to Film Phreeks. This is Justin Llewellyn.
And Eddie Williams.
And tonight we are going to be going back to our audio reviews again, and we're going to be discussing the newest comic book film that's out this weekend, which is Deadpool 2, the sequel to the first Deadpool, which this one is now directed by David Leitch, who was one of the directors of John Wick, and also directed last year's Atomic Blonde. And this film, once again, stars Ryan Reynolds as the title character, based on the series of comic books featuring Deadpool. And this film is about the returning adventures of Deadpool, or Wade Wilson, played by Ryan Reynolds, where he is basically still with his girlfriend from the first film, and after some stuff goes down in the movie and everything, he ends up going to prison where he meets this boy who's called Fire Fist, where he's a kid who basically has who uses fire for his powers. And when he goes there to prison, he ends up getting confronted by a guy named Cable, played by Josh Brolin, who's from the future, who's on a mission to kill the kid due to some personal matters of his own. And it's up to Deadpool and to form a new group of a team of his own in order to stop Cable.
Known as the X-Force.
Yeah.
And not to spoil anything else, but you get to see other villains throughout the film. We'll tell you in the spoiler discussion,
But yeah, that's basically how it boils down to. And I gotta be honest, I've been looking forward to this movie for a while, because when the first Deadpool came out, that movie to me was one of the best superhero films, that was at least one of the best R-rated superhero films that I've seen in a while.
Yeah, it was the first one that actually started a thing with Fox where Fox was associated with it, where they actually were taking risks.
Well, yeah,
and actually doing raunchier and doing it was to me kind of like, I think it was kind of like the opening of what we would have gotten with movies like The New Mutant. It was supposed to come out this year, and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, and then basically because of Deadpool's success with the first one, 20th Century Fox decided to later make more R-rated superhero films, including Logan last year. And so it actually made it was actually good that with the first Deadpool we started to see more brutal and raunchier superhero films come out since then.
Yep. And Deadpool 1 was a phenomenal film.
It was definitely.
God, it was so good. Yeah.
Now to me, and even this, and after seeing the first one, I can honestly say that Ryan Reynolds to me is Deadpool. He was born to play this character from the very beginning. And with the sequel,
good casting choice.
Yeah, and with the sequel, it really got me curious, because it actually seemed like now that they're introducing some other characters that are big in the comics, like Cable, who's played by Josh Brolin, where he basically
is the first. And wouldn't it be the first ever live action Cable we ever gotten?
Pretty much, yeah. And he kind of reminds me of the Terminator crossed with the Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm. Which is used in jokes in the movie.
Yeah. But anyway, I can honestly say upon seeing Deadpool 2, in my opinion, I actually think that I liked it better than the first one. It actually is able to expand upon the first one with some new ways with the story, and it basically takes a lot of things that are good about the character, but also not having to rehash the stuff from the first film. So
exactly, and I did like Deadpool 2, and for the majority, I thought nearly 3/4 of things were a lot better than the first movie. Though there's maybe one or two things that the first movie might actually have it beat in, and I'll discuss that in a second.
Yeah, but to get some of my pros out of the way, once again, Ryan Reynolds shines as Deadpool. He is he's still hilarious as hell. He has a lot of great moments where he's bantering back and forth with the team, with Cable, and especially his kid that they introduced in the film too. That I thought they had a great genuine moments together. And
yeah, I like the like you said, Deadpool's. You already know Ryan Reynolds is going to nail that performance.
Yeah.
And the kid and him and the chemistry, and I liked how they added a little bit more they had not mostly, but they did have some serious moments with Deadpool, and Ryan Reynolds, I thought, kind of played that off really well. But I will say I really, really, really enjoyed Josh Brolin as Cable. I thought that was a hell of a role for him. I do think that I like Thanos better than Cable, but I thought Josh Brolin did both perfectly.
Oh yeah, he was perfectly cast for both, and every time that he was on screen, I was like, all right, what else is he going to do up to this time? Because the parts where it's almost like he's in a different movie too, because it's like one moment you're watching a comedy film with Deadpool, the other part of it you're watching some kind of Terminator like 6 kind of sequel or something with him.
Yeah,
but it's still.
I also want to say that a lot of people didn't even notice this, but those those little redneck guys that were sitting there talking at the truck when Cable came through, one of them is actually played by Matt Damon.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I looked it up in the cast. I go, Matt Damon, and then there's this one actor. He's famous too. I can't think of his name right now. He plays the other redneck talking.
Oh, I think I looked it up. It was the guy who played the droid from Rogue One.
Yes.
Yeah, it was that guy, Alan Tudyk. Cool.
This movie has a lot more, has a lot of cameos than you would know.
Yeah.
Than you think. The movie had a big cast.
It did.
A lot of people didn't even notice half of them.
Yeah, and once again, the comedy in this one really shines too. Like, it's not like the comedy is.
Some of my cons on that, but they're overall I'd say the middle and last half comedy was good, but I do have, and I'll discuss my cons. The first half of the comedy, it was kind of really getting, it wasn't hitting the spot.
Yeah, well, I can see for me, to get my pros with the comedy, I still love the way that he's, breaking the fourth wall and he's doing the meta humor and everything like you saw in the first film. But also, it still pushes a lot of the raunchiness like the character is meant to do and everything. And just the witty banter between him and everyone else, including the villains, is just always a blast. And actually, one of my favorite jokes.
Banter with that girl, the short hair girl.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Calling her Justin Bieber and all that other crap. Yeah, that was funny. But yeah, his banter with everybody. And I wish we would have got more banter with him and Cable, because that was funny.
Yeah, when they were on screen together, like every time that when they actually do have their moments where they're shit talking each other, those are some of my favorite parts. And I also enjoy the parts where he's making like references to like other Marvel films and stuff. And I'm not going to spoil this joke, but there was something really funny when he goes inside the X-Men mansion, and it just, when you see it, it's like the movie actually was a callback to the first film, but they did it in kind of a different way this time.
Yeah.
With referencing, it was like, why isn't there any other X-Men's here? Then I'll leave it at that, because it's fucking funny when they do what they do with that.
Visually, it's a good movie. There was some noticeable CGI I will talk about here in a second. But overall, it was, like a superhero film, you're going to really enjoy the graphics in it.
Oh, yeah, and I especially love the brutality in this one, too. Like, they definitely did
the brutality was awesome.
They definitely upped the action a lot more this time, because one of the things I did kind of, like, have a small flaw with the first one was that the first one didn't have a whole lot of action. It was mainly just a lot of origin story in the first one.
Yeah, it was more of a toned down build up, but this one really kicks it in high gear with the chopping arms off and heads and bones getting split open and all that stuff. They do that a lot more in this one, which was really cool looking. I really got into the blood and all that. I just love that they're taking more risks and getting more dark, it becomes more gruesomer.
Oh yeah,
the more they make movies.
Most definitely, and in fact, one of my favorite action scenes is the part like kind of later on in the film when the X-Force is together and they're fighting inside this convoy that they're driving and everything. And also the final showdown was pretty awesome too. But we won't spoil. We'll leave that in the spoiler section. But that fight they have was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But anyway,
and the music, even though the music is not really meant to blend very well with the movie, but it's supposed to be making fun of that. I did like some of the songs.
Oh, I did too. especially and also especially in some of the parts where Deadpool actually makes reference to the music, he's saying, "All right, roll the music" or something like that. You know, it's but that's really like the most pros that I have, because to be honest, I don't have really many flaws, but to get into some of my cons, I'll say. I will say that while the film does have great humor throughout, I will say I still laughed more in the first one. This one, I was still laughing, but they did have some running jokes in this one that I felt just kind of carried on throughout a lot of the movie, and it just kept getting old after a while.
That's what I want to say in my con. I do feel like what held the first one the strongest in the first one was actually the comedy, was like really just nonstop great. In the second one, I feel like I feel like the first one kind of beat the second one on the comedy, because the consistency of the comedy in the first one was a lot better than this one, because I had a lot of problems with like the first half jokes were kind of just not hitting it. Like it felt like they were really pushing it, like they were really trying to shove it out there and it just wasn't clicking.
Yeah.
And then there was other jokes throughout the movie, like you were stating, that I felt like they kept rehashing, re-rinsing, and I'm like, it's kind of getting old.
Yeah, that's how I felt with like the some of the, like, for example, when throughout the film Deadpool is constantly because the girl from the first film, the teenage warhead girl, she has a girlfriend in this movie who is like the pink hair girl. Well, every time there's a joke throughout the film where every time that she would interact with her, she would always say, "Hi, Wade." And while I think it's funny the first time, I did feel like it was getting overdone throughout the entire film.
That, and they kept calling Deadpool a trainee in this film, and I'm not going to say trainee of what, but he's a trainee of something, and they keep saying trainee. I'm like, oh my god, they keep saying that, and it ain't funny anymore.
Yeah, and so the humor is definitely like underwhelming in this one compared to the first one, but it didn't like piss me off or anything. I was still laughing as it went along.
It still held its own. I would recommend the middle and last half.
Yeah,
comedy. They get better. When the movie gets deep in the film, it gets better. It's just more like the kind of beginning, middle. It kind of really is more like they're trying to push it, and it just wasn't clicking. It just was, kind of just you're trying too hard, is what I'm trying to say. And another thing, I will as a little minor complaint, not nothing that was like a problem in the movie. There are some scenes that do feel like the editing was kind of weird.
Yeah, like when we first seen
introduction with Cable just came out of abruptly nowhere, where it didn't work its way into that scene. It just came out of nowhere. It's
it would have been a lot better if, like, say they did like a opening crawl where it said the future or something like that to kind of build up to it. But all we do is just see like you just see them, and we're supposed to already pretty much be going into that scene. Yeah. But the other complaint I did have was that it's more of a minor thing, but I felt like the X-Force team themselves, I felt like were underused, because I don't want to go into detail without going into spoilers, but I really felt like they really should have took more of their time instead of, not going the direction I thought they would. Because it felt very quick.
We're not going to tell you on the spoiler free, but on the spoiler we'll go into more discussion on that scene, but let's just say they don't have much screen time.
Yeah.
Little too low on the screen time to even ask why were they in the movie in the first. Why would they had to be in this film?
Yeah, and the same thing.
It's that underused. So that was another complaint. Another minor complaint. It's not throughout the film, but on some parts, especially in the beginning, there's some really noticeable CGI.
Yeah, definitely there is.
Yeah, I'm not talking about a good one. There was some kind of really cringy one, like there's this part where he's actually going, because in the beginning, kind of Deadpool's kind of going into like, he's been fighting all kinds of people throughout history and stuff like that since the first movie, and there's this part where he's kind of fighting these one people, and the people are actually CGI looking. I was like, oh.
Yeah. I can see that. But overall, though,
Overall, that's all I got. I mean, it was still a great movie. I'd love to own it.
Oh, me too. I can honestly say that overall, I still enjoyed the film better than the first one. But I am actually willing to see the more future movies with the X-Force team and also with Deadpool in the future, because I heard that they're actually.
I will say one thing I do want to state: I did enjoy Avengers: Infinity War a lot more.
I'll give you that. I mean, I did love Infinity War a lot more than this one, but I still say that as far as sequels goes, I did enjoy this one better than the first one. So with that, I'm going for my grade. Even though I did have some problems with the film, I still kept up with it so much to the point that I still enjoyed it more than the first. And with that, I'm going to give the movie a phenomenal grade on the. I'll give it a low phenomenal grade on the Film Freaks meter.
See, mine's going to be a surprising score here. I'm actually going to go with a high B compelling on my grade on the Film Freaks meter. It's a high B. It just, I still enjoyed the movie, don't get me wrong. I just felt like some of the things I mentioned on the cons kind of really took the score down a little bit, but it's still a great movie.
Fair enough. I could see that. Well, for those of you who have also seen Deadpool 2, let us know in the comments of what you thought about it, and also the first one as well. And if you like what you see here, you can feel free to like and subscribe and check out some more of my reviews of our reviews here on our channel and at our website at filmfreaks.com. And we'll see you coming up in our spoiler discussion of the second film. So until then, we'll catch you guys later.
All right, later.